This one right here. This one right here. I have to express this one right here. I've been excited for it because, boys and girls, look who I got. It's Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid and my very special guest, Casey Navarro. I've been waiting to say that forever. Thank you, man.
No problem, my man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm a little excited because I've been taking a break because I did. Now check this out: 115 interviews in 5 weeks' time. So
Wow.
at this point, I'm on a low down right now. But you reached out, and I popped. I'm in my car. I saw the message, and I popped like a freakazoid. And I said, "Hell yeah, let's get Casey Navarro on," because we tried to connect a couple times,
Yeah.
but it's a weird time. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna kind of start with that. With everything going on, you, your family, everybody cool?
Yeah, everybody's safe. My girlfriend and her family were going through a rough time with this whole thing. So I was really tending to her and being there for her. But otherwise, me and my family were all good, man. We're all safe, thank God.
That's awesome to hear because again, crazy. Sorry, just was adjusting a little something something there. And let me turn my notifications on because I'm a goofball and I never seem to turn those off. Uh, Again, it's a pleasure having you. I've talked to so many talented men and women. One specifically, I just want to point out real quick is Jose Perez. Love me some Jose Perez. He actually gave me the idea to reach out to you, and I'm like, I don't know, man. He doesn't know me, and I mean, we've only met maybe once or twice at
Yeah, I
best.
think one time, yeah.
Well, he's like, if you don't ask, you don't know, and here we are. So
Yeah, man. You never know, my man.
I just kind of what we do is we talk wrestling, we talk character. I love the evolution of character. That's something I'm fascinated with. Wrestling in general, obviously. And we just kind of get behind the curtain a little bit. And so the fans that don't know you get to be introduced, and the fans that do know you, we might be able to get to know you a little bit more. Uh,
Sure.
so I mean, I'm a goofball. I don't have anything written down. I don't check out anything. So if I kind of jump from here to there to there to here, just kind of roll with the punches and we just have some fun. All right, man?
I'm with it, my man. I'm already having fun, so let's do it.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to start with the beautiful shiny gold you got to the right of you. If you could
Yes,
just
sir.
explain to the fans, what are those belts? Where are they from? What do they represent? And obviously, you're the champ. So give us a little something on the gold, my man.
All right. Well, right here we got the Wrestling Has a Tomorrow Championship. It is a company based out of Providence, Rhode Island. It's like a home to me. It is owned by a lot of people. There's a lot of stars on there, such as JT Dunn. We've had Sammy Callahan, AR Fox, just to name a few. This is a belt that I've been chasing for a very long time. It took me over a year. I was a guy that started in the pre-show and ended up main eventing my first ever What show against my trainer and mentor, Ring of Honor star now, Dan Moff. And I was able to beat him for his undefeated record and take the gold. So that's what this title is right there.
Okay, now
And then,
pause real quick, sir. I hate to
okay.
interrupt,
No. Go ahead,
but
my man.
you've mentioned a couple things right there. I've been following WHAT from the very beginning, and I've seen all of it unfold. Haven't been able to go there live. It's a little distance for me, but I try to make sure I watch, and I've been watching everything. I'll tell you that. And you,
Appreciate
to
it.
take that journey through the entire course, like you just said, from the pre-show through that year's time, and my goodness, out of everybody in the universe that was champion at that time, was Dan Moff. And you came in and told an amazing story. You both
Thank you.
did. But you know what's really cool? The people, for men and women that don't know, the boys and girls that don't know, you surrounded the entire ring is surrounded by the fans. It's really
Yes,
cool. And
sir.
there's a balcony set up. You get to look down. There's a VIP stage set up. You get to
Yes,
get up
sir.
there. It's a different atmosphere over there. I'm a
Sure.
little excited. I'm stumbling over my words because I'm looking back at the whole history of WHT. What I'd like you to do, and I know we've got one more belt to talk about, could you talk to the fans about that match and gaining that belt? Because I'm
Yeah.
telling you, what a journey that was for you, but it was such a journey for us too.
Yeah, my man. Me versus Damoff was a story and a match that was 4 years in the making at the time. I never had an opportunity to wrestle with him because when I first started wrestling school, it was owned by somebody else, but Damoff was a trainer. And that owner happened when I was like 4 months into training, said I wasn't humble. And he said I would never make it anywhere in wrestling. And he kicked me out 15 years old in a really bad neighborhood in New Jersey by myself. And Dan Moff was the first guy to reach out to me and didn't want me to quit. So 4 years went by. We never had the match. Finally, I won a fatal four-way to get to wrestle him at what 10, and I wound up blowing my knee out. So the match got taken away from me again. But then at what 12, I still had my opportunity there, and to be in that ring with that man, I just remember standing in that ring because I was obviously out first, and for him, just seeing him walk out, a tear just came down my eye because it was just the moment. Not about who was winning, not about who was losing. It was the moment that the crowd was invested, and I was about to wrestle the guy that believed in me since day one, and I didn't care if he was going to chop his hand through my chest and break me in half. I was ready to go in there, and I was ready to put on a show for the fans and obviously show Dan Moff and give him something to be proud of. And I'm forever grateful for that match for sure.
So coming full circle, getting that raw emotion at that time, watching your mentor, your trainer, I mean, even more, would you call him like a brother figure, a father figure? How would you consider him?
I would definitely call him a father figure for sure. I could go to that man for anything, and he's always there for me. And it's funny because he doesn't live that far from me, so I can always go visit him if I want. But yeah, father figure for sure, man. He's definitely a papa bear for everybody in wrestling for sure.
The moments in wrestling I love to talk about. It's something that I'm very, very passionate about because we watch the WWE and all of the big companies. There's always moments in time that we remember growing up, being a fan. But man, in our local area, there's so many that are made that we just don't realize. And as fans that need to, and I don't preach what you should watch or not watch as a wrestling fan. But man, if you're not watching the indies, give it a shot, man. Get out of your comfort zone of the WWE and stuff. Check this shit out because there are so many times, moments in time that will never be forgotten. And that when you're talking about tear coming to your eye, Dan Moff coming out to the ring with the championship, like you said, no wins, no losses. It was the moment, and the fans were in it. That's a big part of it right there.
Yes, sir.
Now, the fans, I love talking about that. I love talking. That's a problem here. Now, you win the championship. What happens with you? Your emotions? What happens? Give us that ride.
So I just remember he went for the Rainmaker, ducked, grabbed him, put him in a crucifix pin. 1, 2. I'm thinking he's going to kick out. 3. Crowd goes nuts. I'm like, holy shit. I just beat Dan Moff. I go to the corner, and it wasn't until I saw him standing there and he took the belt from the referee and he asked for the microphone. And I just remember he gave a speech and he told the story of how I got kicked out of wrestling school and how the owner didn't believe in me and some people there didn't believe in me. And I was very underrated and I was overlooked for being a smaller guy. And even he said, believe it or not, I was a lot smaller than I am now. And all he said was that he was proud of me. And what he wanted was for me, because I was crying in the corner because it was a very emotional moment for me. And he looked at me and he told me, I want you to stand up and get up like you always have your whole career. And I want you to walk over here and take this belt from me. And it was that moment of taking the belt from him and our hug in the middle of the ring. That whole span of 5 minutes is just a moment in my career that I will never, ever forget. And there was fans crying because everybody saw it. There was wrestlers that were watching from the balcony crying. And I just remember, like, God rest his soul, one of my really good friends that passed away, Matt Travis, that wrestled for House of Glory. I didn't get to see him that night, and he was there. And I have the messages, and he messaged me, and he goes, dude, that was one of the most emotional matches I've ever seen in my career. I'm so proud of you, and you told a fantastic story. And it's moments like that, man, that makes everything we do all worth it.
The support, the love, the gratification, that all comes the adulation, if you will, that comes from your peers in that moment. And I know we're stuck on one moment here, but I'm really, because I follow the whole thing, and I got to talk about it. But the peers reaching out to you, even in the moment when you're seeing the peers getting out of the ring, going to the back, the whole thing, that must have lasted for weeks at end, I gotta say.
It was insane because it was my first world title that I've ever won. So it was a big deal for a lot of people. And I even remember like the whole thing with JT Dunn coming out trying to cash in his thing because he had like a contract, like a number one contenders at any time contract. And he tried to cash it in, beat up Moff. And then I remember like when we went over it, they said that only 3 guys were going to come out for the save. The locker room was so invested in the moment that they all ran down, came in, and legitimately beat up JT and everyone. And I hit my move at the end. And I remember it was only supposed to be me, Mop, and like 2 others. And it ended up being the whole locker room because everyone was that invested in the moment. And it was just unbelievable for me. Like, even when I remember Jessica Havoc handed me the microphone, she was like, you got to talk. You got to let them know how you're feeling right now. This is a moment that you're never going to forget. It's only going to happen once. And I remember just talking and every wrestler just taking a knee. There was wrestlers crying, fans crying, and I was crying. And the only thing I did was thank Moff because of him, I'm here today. So
you did mention you were a smaller guy back then, and I've seen your older pictures, and I know you're a smaller guy now, but holy shit, you were like a really small kid trying to make your way into wrestling. And then at that point, could I say at that point being your pinnacle of your career? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, for sure.
Now, again, in the ring with your mentor, the whole 9 yards, and you've gained stature, you've gained a brand, you've gained a name, you've gained eyes watching you in the industry, the whole 9 yards. And everybody that's watching Dan Moff is watching you now. And man, that guy's got a lot of fans himself. So
yes, it does.
More eyes and more promoters and so forth. A match like that, big time for KC. I was and again, I watched from a distance. Such a pleasure. The whole thing to see you come out on top. The David and Goliath whole story thing.
Yes, sir.
Amazing. And I thank you as a fan because it was just so cool to see that company start from where it was. And man, the names that they were bringing in, it was amazing. I'm like, I am kicking myself in the ass for not going to this company, but you got guys like Buff Dad hanging around, and I don't know, he's a little sketchy. You know what I'm talking, right?
Yeah, sir.
Love me some Buff Dad. Okay, we've talked in depth about that What Championship because I've been waiting to talk about that whole storyline. And I love the raw emotion that you've showed and talked about. I love that so much.
Sure.
Now, let's move on to that beautiful championship you've got right next to you. It says that's the CZW Wire Championship. Give us a little something on that one.
This title, man, this explains everything I've done in my career right here. This is years and years of hard work. Not sure if you're familiar, but a lot of people are. I'm very close with, now former WWE superstar Lio Rush, another one of my big time mentors as well. I remember the first time I met him, he had this. He was the champion at the time, so it was about 2016. And I remember that day when he had it. I was like, man, like he's the champion at CZW. This guy's known everywhere now. Like I got to get to that level. And I remember the first time I wrestled Lio. Me and him just gained a connection. That was about 4 years ago. It was about 4 years ago at the time. And his last match at CZW, I was there. And I just remember after his match, I gave him a hug. And he grabbed me and he put me in front of DJ Hyde, who's the owner of CZW, and said, this is the kid that deserves a spot. He deserves a spot here. He deserves to be at the top. And I want you to give my spot to him. Unfortunately, it didn't go as planned like Lio wanted. And, I wanted to work hard. I wanted to earn it. I did a year at their little Dojo Wars, like NXT type thing. And I worked my way to the main roster. And I remember I went through a whole year of losing, just losing. And I finally got my big win. And then I fought for this last year at Cage of Death in the ECW arena against former champion Jordan Oliver. and it was what they are saying is one of the best opening matches at Cage of Death history. Jordan broke my nose, all this stuff happened, but I didn't come out on top. The one thing I got to walk away from that match was a standing ovation from 1,500 people in the ECW arena. And I worked so much harder the following year. And then, like I said, I blew out my knee and I was out for a very long time. And it gave me a moment to reevaluate myself and find who I am. And that's when I realized I wasn't the Sky Reaper, man. I was blessed. And I remember hitting up CZW going, hey, man, like, I'm ready to come back and this is what I'm doing. And I'm blessed and this, that, and the third. And I remember just becoming one of the biggest underdogs there to the most hated guy on the fucking roster. And I went from beating people, and just being unstoppable, showing that my shit doesn't stink. And next thing you know, I fight AR Fox for this. And everybody didn't think I was going to win. And I beat him. And all these people are talking about Young, Dumb, and Broke helping me. I don't know what the hell they're talking about, okay? Because me and Jordan still don't like each other. I don't like any of those bums. They're all a bunch of yarders, okay? But I won. Now I got this. So that's my story, man. I remember the first person I hit up and how proud he was of me. And how he posted it all over social media and called me. And Shane Strickland was another guy that was very proud of me because he actually requested to work with me as his last CZW match ever, which also helped. So I did this for them too.
A few things about everything you've touched on about that Wire Championship and the company itself.
Sure.
First thing I got to touch upon, is your house on fire?
No, they're cooking downstairs.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to ask.
Yeah, I kind of knew that was coming. Once my mom said she was cooking some steak, and I heard those alarms going off, I'm like, oh, that filet mignon's going to be good.
Dude, I love that broiler when you just kick it all the way up and you throw the meat in. Oh, my God, it comes out so amazing. Wow, let's not talk dinner. So you talked about losing for a year straight. Now, that's a message. And again, I'll never be in the ring. I don't proclaim that I'm a wrestler. I'm a fan first and foremost. That's all I am. I do a little media stuff on the side, but I will tell you, the message that you just said right there, that's a good message to the ones that are up and coming, the ones that are starting in any company, to be honest with you.
Sure.
You can't take this vision that you have of being at the pinnacle and winning every single time, coming in or coming up or walking in the door of a new company.
Sure.
I feel that this loss thing really kind of gets your character, gives it a little something, right?
Yes, sir. 100%.
Do you feel that some men and women, when they walk into the back room, never been there, but they do the etiquette thing. Everybody shakes hands. Everybody introduces each other. Might have helped out with the ring. That's another plus. Helped out with some chairs. Another plus, right? But now you get in there and I don't know. I feel that safety is a factor at times. Now, do you feel that when you get in the ring with anybody, do you have a feeling when you're shaking hands of somebody you don't know? Because it's very hard to tell. Do you feel comfortable when you're shaking hands and going, okay, I've never met this guy or a woman. I'm not sure. Do you ever get those kind of feelings as a wrestler? Because I'm curious as a fan.
Well, not sure about like what per se.
Well, like safety, because that's one of those rules, and not rules, but one of those things that are unsaid. Safety is number one. Then it kind of clicks underneath. For me as a fan, walking into CZW, you've probably never met a bunch of people there, okay? And now you walk in, you have an unknown opponent. Do you get this uneasy feeling of, I hope I can trust this person across from me? Is there any uneasy feeling like that as a wrestler?
I mean, I feel like the only time I've ever felt like that was like if I'm wrestling somebody that I've never wrestled before and I just came back from an injury. Because I'm just like, I'm worried. Like I remember when I hurt my knee, my first match back was at CZW. And I was wrestling a kid from Germany at WXW. I've never heard of him. I've never met him. And I remember the first thing he wanted to do was attack my leg. Like I remember how worried I was. And I didn't say no because I was confident enough that my leg was good. But I remember being in the ring and I was feeling a little bit of pain that kid protected my leg. So I never really like to sit there and be like, oh, this kid's gonna hurt me. Because if you go in that with that mindset of, yo, this kid's gonna hurt me, or oh, I'm gonna get hurt because this kid I never wrestled him before. Like I feel like then you're gonna lead yourself into injury. You got to go in there confident, man. You got to go and you got to trust your significant other because, in my opinion, I feel like if a mess up happens in wrestling, it's not one person's fault. It's not the other person's fault. It's both. You know, we're performers. We're dancing. We're performing for the crowd. And if we mess up, but we got to keep moving. So I never try to think negatively like that. I always try to trust everybody.
I was just curious because, again, I'm a little weird at times, and I get these kind of just stuff that I would never ask, just in general at a show. So doing these things, it kind of gives me, a little forum to ask questions like that,
For sure.
Now, the Wire Championship, you worked at the Dojo Wars for about a year, you said. There are some characters that go to the Dojo Wars. A lot of fun, though, at those Dojo Wars. I want to bring up a couple names, if I might.
Okay.
I see that a Karen Bam Bam goes to the Dojo Wars. Are you familiar with Karen Bam Bam at all?
Is she newer?
She is newer.
Okay, yeah, I don't really remember. I haven't really watched a lot of the Dojo Wars program.
Okay.
I might have met her and might know her actual name. I'm not too sure. I'm very bad at remembering people. But if I see her, I probably would know her.
All right. I was just curious, throwing a couple names out there that I'm familiar with that I've seen at the Dojo Wars.
Yeah, no
there's another big guy that I like around here. His name is Corey Dillinger, the Diligent One. Are you familiar with Corey Dillinger?
I am familiar with Corey Dillinger. Yes, I am.
Have any run-ins with him? Because you're a small guy. He's a big giant guy.
We have actually earlier in me and Jordan Oliver's career, we were a tag team at a company called UWA Elite. He was also there, and we actually had a rivalry with him and his partner. So we have faced off a lot, and Corey used to throw me around. So yes, I'm very, very familiar with Corey Dillinger, and he's very, very good.
I didn't mean to bring up bad memories of getting tossed around my phone.
It's crazy. I'm actually kind of feeling it in my back right now. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Now, getting up to this Wire Championship, you said that the people hated you, so you weren't facing this company. You were heel, if you will.
So, when I was losing, getting the cage of death against Jordan Oliver, babyface, wrestling Shane Strickland, babyface. It wasn't until I came back from my injury. It was my last time being babyface, and it was crazy because I didn't think I was going to get a big reaction because I always kind of got like a 45% to 50% of the people actually reacting to me. But that night when I came back, I had 100% of the people behind me, and they didn't even know what was coming. And the kid beat me. I lost again. After my match, the interview girl comes out and goes, "Oh, KC, welcome back." The crowd's chanting, "Welcome back." Everybody's happy. I'm like, "Oh, wow. You guys are going to be pissed off." And she goes, when you were in the combat zone, you were on quite the losing streak and you're continuing it tonight. How does that make you feel? And I just looked at her. I looked at the crowd and I went to go talk and I just shoved the shit out of her right on the floor. And the crowd just started booing me. And I just turned around and I just walked away. And the next time they saw me, I had a fucking entourage to back me up. They're known as the blessings.
That's what we're talking about, man. You push an interviewer. The crowd is pissed off. You just shit on us. And now we're like, what the hell's going on? You come back and now you've got a posse with you because those are the things like Chris Jericho. He gained a group, a faction, if you will. That's what champions do, my man. They come back, and when they come back strong.
For sure. And now, I look at myself as a star, my man. And if I'm a star, I need a group. I need a business manager. I need a guy to get me coffee. I need a guy to hype me up. I need a guy to back me up. And I mean, when you're driving a nice BMW custom with white on the outside, red on the inside, okay, my man? Damn. And you got the gold and you got a hot girl, man, sky is the limit. But you gotta roll. You gotta have people to protect you at times. You know what I'm saying?
Hey. I'd like to agree and say I feel you on that, but I got a red Sentra, so that's about as far as I mean, it is what it is. Now the CZW Wire Championship, that has a history right before what it is now. Could you tell the fans what that was called before?
I believe it was the junior title, if I'm not mistaken. I know a lot about CZW, but not too much. I didn't really start getting familiar with it until I really got into wrestling, so I really missed out on a lot. But I believe it was the junior title, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I believe that was the old name. I'm not too sure, though.
Now, CZW's, they're known for their blood and crazy stuff. Now, I can't follow CZW as closely as I would like with, footage and stuff. I try to, but have you got yourself in that kind of mix up? Because that's a whole different ball game, my friend.
Oh, no. Oh, no, that ain't my spot. That ain't my cup of tea right there. See, and it's funny because I do these Instagram lives, as you can see behind me, and I had a fan actually ask me, are you ever going to defend the Wire title in a death match? And I looked at them, and I go, look at me, my man. Let me ask you a question. You see this face? Do you see this face? Do you think this face should get scratched up and bleeding all over the floor? He goes, no. I go, exactly no. Because you know what happens if I start bleeding all over the floor? Some other dumb wrestler is going to come in the ring, lay in my blood, soak up my swag, and he's going to take my spot. And it's not happening.
It's
not happening.
Oh, man. Again, totally different animal. Whole different ball game, man. I'm like hardcore and traditional. You got to be a little out there. And I'm out there, but I'm not that out there. Holy cow.
Me neither.
Now, when we come back, and I know it's very questionable what the hell's going on right now. I know we all have a big, huge question mark across the globe. But when we do come back, do you have any opponents that's already lined up for both of those championships right there?
Well, this is what I've been saying because I've been asked that question a lot. And to be completely honest with you, man, I've seen a lot of the CZW locker room, and I don't think any of them are worthy enough to face me for this. Okay, I beat AR Fox, okay? I've been smacking Jordan Oliver around before he had a little posse, okay? And unless CZW can get somebody that's blessed enough to wrestle me, I could care less. You know what's funny? I won this belt, and I never even defended it. You know that? I haven't even defended it yet because I'm too busy celebrating.
You find that funny. As a fan, I don't find that funny.
See, here's my thing. There's only one guy that everybody keeps bringing up to me. You want to know who it is? Lio Rush.
Ooh, shit. Because, hey, I don't know. I follow me some Lio Rush. I even follow his quote-unquote shoot page, if you will. I don't know. He's talking kind of cryptic lately. I would love to see that because, like you said originally, you guys, when you first started working each other, found that chemistry. Very similar, not totally similar because you guys, have contrast, but I could imagine that really fitting very well. But he's a former champ. You're the now champ. Are you calling out one Mr. Lio Rush? Is that what I'm kind of hearing, sir?
See, if the character was talking, character would say that Lio Rush failed me. Character would say that Lio Rush doesn't deserve this. But the real person would actually say, "Hell yeah, Leo, come on down, come on back home, and just come on and wrestle me, man."
Wow,
for sure.
You're very inviting when you're yourself. I got
Yeah, when I'm myself, I'm a very nice guy. But when I get in my blessed mode, I tell you to screw off. But no, in all seriousness, as me, I would love to take on Leo if Leo was available and he was in the right state of mind. I would love to honestly just take on the best in the world, man. That's the one thing I want right now. I just want to take this title and make it mean something. I am actually going out of the country. I was supposed to do it a lot actually this year, but obviously due to what happened, that's not happening anymore. But I'm ready to defend this all across the globe against the best wrestlers in the world, whether it's in Germany, England, Ireland, Mexico, Canada, you name it. I'll take this title anywhere. I'm even going to Gibraltar at the end of the year if everything goes well.
Wow.
At the coast of Spain. So I'm ready to take on anybody, the best in the world. I don't care who it is.
You know, that reminds me of when David Starr was a WXW shotgun champion, and
Sure.
he would defend it. And there was title matches all the time. Around here, though, like I've seen him go up against some fantastic names with representing the company, putting the title on the line. That's something that I find amazing when a company lets their champion travel and let it become a true world championship, and you get to defend it at these other companies where other fans get to see it. Now, I know of WXW because of when David Starr was champion.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
See what I'm saying? I mean, it gets eyes on the company, and I absolutely love that aspect when you get to travel with it. I find that fantastic. Now, the Wire Championship, are you looking ahead? Again, we don't know what's going on, but we're still talking wrestling, though. Are you looking ahead at the big championship? Because I don't know. Just kind of putting it out there.
Honestly, man, see Jay Free, the guy that hypes me up in the ring. He promised me that he can get me this and the world title, and I'm willing to take that world title from that big, sloppy, evolved superstar known as Joe Gacy. I'll do it. I'll do it.
I can't breathe. You shouldn't talk. You shouldn't talk to Mr. Joe like that. I can't breathe. I didn't say that, sir. Wow. Now you're saying you want to hold both championships at the same time?
I would love to be the youngest guy to ever hold both titles at the same time.
Wow. I'd actually kind of like to see that. Wow. That's some cool shit right there.
That is it is right there.
Exactly. Wow. That's some awesome shit. Now, what I'd like to talk about, because we haven't dove into it much, your character as Casey Navarro. Now, I don't want to get into your I stalk you guys. I mean, I follow you guys on the face page and stuff, and the Twitter, if you will. But Casey Navarro, is that what you're really called, or is that a character name? Just curious.
So my actual name is Christian Navarro, and when I first started, that was my name. And
okay.
But the guy that owned the original school that I used to train at, he changed my name to Kid Christian because I was only 15 years old. I obviously looked like a child compared to everyone else. And I rolled with that for a while. After I got kicked out of wrestling school, I made like Kid Christian a real thing. And I kind of sat back and I was like, man, like, how am I going to make this like a character? Because at the time, character building was a huge thing. And I was like, man, like, how am I going to make this a character and not just me? So I sat back and I was like, well, what are kids into? What do kids do? I mean, I'm a kid. I should know this. I shouldn't have to ask this question. And I was like, man, well, I love candy. And kids love candy. But when they eat candy, they have sugar rushes. So I was known as the Sugar Rush Kid Christian. I used to come out hyped up on candy. I used to come out with candy, drowning nerds like it was shots, running around the ring. Like I was hyped up, dude. And I was doing that for a while. And I was really known for that for a very long time. And then it just got to a point where I started making a lot of friends that were higher up. And they were looking at me and they were like, you know, you're 17 now. It's time to like start slowing down on the kids stuff. It's kind of holding you back. Because I remember I had a friend that was going to get me booked for my first international tour at 17. And they didn't want to bring me over because of the name, because it made me seem like a child. So for a long time, I did the Sugar Rush thing. Sugar Rush turned into that kid. And then it got to the point where I was like, all right, well, I got to get rid of this name. But I wasn't ready to do it until I blew out my shoulder. And I was out for 3 months. And I took that as an opportunity to come back as something different. And I decided that I was going to represent my father, who actually got me into professional wrestling when I was a child. He went to the U.S. Army and he wasn't in my life for 11 years. And he was known as the Sky Reaper because he was an airborne ranger. So he was hopping out of helicopters and they called him the Sky Reaper. And then they actually called me the Sky Reaper in wrestling. So I took that name, and instead of calling myself Kid Christian, I was already known as KC, and I shortened it down and I made it KC and added my dad's last name, which is also my last name, Navarro. And I was rocking out with that soldier gimmick for a little bit. That got me really far. I got a lot of respect from veterans because I respect the veterans very much. And then once I hurt my knee and I realized that it kind of ran its course and it wasn't getting me anywhere, because I remember I did an Evolve tryout in New York. And the one thing that they said was that I didn't show enough personality in my matches. And when I was going back and looking back, I was like, man, everybody says I have so much of a personality, but when I do the soldier thing, I'm really not showing nothing. And then
Mm.
I realized when I was sitting with my friends one day, my one friend looked at me, my one friend JJ Adams, who wrestles as well. He looked at me and was like, man, you when you get into like a heel character, you're very good at being like cocky and arrogant. Like you're very good at being heel and you're never heel. And I thought about it and I was like, man, like, what if I turned heel? Maybe that can help my career. And then I always used the word blessed. Blessed was always my word. It was my thing. And I went when I was out with my knee injury and I got it tattooed on me, finally. And once I got it tattooed, I started really getting invested in my character, started coming up with catchphrases. I would call my girlfriend up in the middle of the night. I'd be like, hey, babe, did you know that God blessed me with many gifts? My charisma, my skills, and most importantly, my good looks. And she'd be like, what?
Oh my
And I'd be
God.
like, you don't have to tell me. I know. She goes, don't you ever say that again. I hate it. And I was like, you hate it? So I called my mom and I did it to my mom, did it to my friends. And I was like, if they hate it, and that's only 5 people, thousands of people are going to hate it. And that's when I came up with that blessed thing. And honestly, like ever since I started this blessed character, it has brought my career to another level. I finally feel like I found who I am. And I feel like in wrestling, it takes a very long time to find who you are. It doesn't happen overnight. You're not going to walk into wrestling school and be like, oh, my name is Joe Schmo. And then you're super over all of a sudden, Like, I feel like it does take time to find who you are. Like Orange Cassidy. For a long time, he was doing that character and people didn't care about it. Look at him now. He's one of the top stars in AEW, So I personally feel like I finally found who I am in this blessed character for sure.
Where you are now and where you came in trying to do all of these characters, the evolution of the character of Casey Navarro, how long of a time frame?
Well, I really started picking up at the end of last year. So, and I just would say May 5th. So yesterday was May 4th. Yesterday was the first time I ever walked into wrestling school. And that was 5 years ago. So just about 4.5 years it took me to truly find who I was.
Wow.
4.5 years. And I really feel like a lot of people can look at it as me going from a child to an adult. It's legitimately me growing. So I think that's the cool part about my evolution for my character.
Yeah, that's for sure. I'm gonna have to try to find some of this now. For us that don't know, and I usually throw it at the end, but now I'm really curious because I want to go find some footage of. Do you have footage of your early character career?
I'm pretty sure there's stuff out there for sure. I'm pretty sure somewhere deep in the YouTubes there's some kind of Kid Christian stuff out there. I'm sure of it.
Well, why don't you give us, for those that don't know, give us the social media stuff so we could go and maybe hunt down some Kid Christian or Kid Christian, man.
Yeah, Kid Christian.
Yeah, where do we go to find some stuff for you?
If you go on YouTube, just type in Casey Navarro or Kid Christian. You never know which you might find. You can search me up there. If you want to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Casey Russell's on everything. Even on the Snapchat, and now on the TikTok. TikTok's a big thing. So I'm on the TikTok as well. And also every week I do a little Instagram live series with Tasha Steeles, who's been seen on NWA and all over the East Coast. We do this little Instagram live thing where we bring fans in, and every Thursday is Truly Guest Thursday, and we bring some top stars from around the world that are our friends to come and interview. So that's what I do.
That's awesome, man. That is so cool. How long you been doing the Instagram thing?
So I started it when this whole quarantine thing happened. I noticed that fans were DMing me a lot, and I was doing lives just to do them, and it just so happened that like so many people were loving them, and it was gaining attention. That even my friends that are on television now were texting me saying, "Keep up the Instagram lives, like it's a really good thing." And I was like, "Really?" And Tasha Steeles was one of the top influencers for all of it. Like, oh, you got to keep doing it. You got to keep doing it. And I just noticed that when I was bringing fans in, I just happened to say, all right, now let's see who's next to be blessed. And every time I'd say it and fans would know what I was saying, and that wound up becoming the name of it. And now it's like a big thing that kids look forward to. And like, it's cool to see like when I was a child or even like, I'm not that old. I don't know why I keep saying when I was a child, but like when I was 14, And Roman Reigns is always somebody I looked up to. You know, I'm young. I'm not going to say like Ultimate Warrior. You know, people hate me for that, but they forget I'm young. Roman Reigns was a big guy for me, and I'll never forget meeting Roman Reigns and like crying when I met him because I went through so much, and like he was the reason why I chased my dream at the time. And I remember just looking at him and just crying and like telling him like how much of an inspiration he was. And he took 5 minutes and stopped his whole autograph signing to talk to me, and like he inspired me, you know. And it's cool to like see that now I'm like on the other side of that. Like I'm the guy talking to the kids, and the kids are like either A, crying, B, they can't believe they're on there with me. And like it's like such a cool feeling. And like sometimes it doesn't even hit me that like, wow, like these kids look up to me. Like I am somebody to these kids. And but I feel like that's a good mindset to like stay at the same level as everybody. Because you know what? Like God willing, I ever get signed or I become something huge, you know, I believe that if you act like something you're bigger than, you know, you're gonna lose that emotion, that connection. Mm-hmm. But I always believed in staying on the same level as everybody else because I'm human, just like everyone else is. And I believe that Roman Reigns showed me that when I met him, and he remembered me when we happened to have a encounter at Madison Square Garden backstage for a live event. So, but yeah, man, that's it right there.
Now, I'm a little bit older than you, if you can't tell. I got a little bit of this going on. I talk about this specific time in my life on this show just to kind of give you where I was at in wrestling when I was growing up. Sure. 1978.
Oh, wow.
I was born in Bristol, Connecticut. So home of ESPN, you know. We were at Bristol Central High School. My dad brought me, and I got to witness. There was only 2 matches that really stand out at that moment, especially being at 8 years old. Was the main event was Bob Backlund. He was a champion, and he was going against Cowboy Bob Orton, Randy Orton's dad, and that was for the big belt. And the other one was Tito Santana and Ivan Putski. They were the champions going against the Wild Samoans and Afa. Or the New Albano. See how old I am. But dude, that's what it doesn't matter where we come from. Older era, you know, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. You're talking Roman Reigns. I mean, you know, as your influence, dude, it doesn't matter where we come from. When we're all talking about wrestling, it all kind of comes together, you know?
For sure, man. And like I noticed, like when I first came in, like that was like a big thing. Like if you didn't know who Ultimate Warrior was or Hulk Hogan, which you'd be crazy if you didn't. But like let's just say if you didn't know like a certain back in the time wrestler, it was like it was frowned upon. Like there was a lot of times where I'd be in like wrestling school at the time when I first started, and I didn't know some of these guys that like were like, you know, that weren't on the Hulk Hogan Ultimate Warrior level.
Right.
And I didn't know who the hell they were. I was like, I can tell you all about John Cena, and I can tell you all about The Rock. I can sure as hell do that in Stone Cold. I was like, that's the furthest I go back. But Reigns guy, like I remember walking into training with a Roman Reigns shirt, and it was like I committed a crime. Like, oh, what the hell? You're a mark. It's like this is the era I grew up in. I'm sorry that I'm only 15. Like that was like. I don't know. Wrestling's so weird.
It is. It's one of the most unique things ever in the universe. That's why I think it fascinates the shit out of me, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So from here, we have, hopefully, the world is going to come to some kind of normalcy. Yep. Now, we talk about the big stage. You've talked about Lio Rush a couple times. He's hit that big stage. He was CCW. Many other things Lio Rush was. Do you see yourself, and that's what you're striving for, getting to that big show, getting to that big stage, looking at that platform as like, that's where I'm going to be one day? Because, again, not everybody has the same mindset when they're a wrestler.
Right. For me, man, I look at Leo. Leo was a big influence on my career. Being only 22 and getting signed, he was only in wrestling for 2 years and got signed. To me, no matter what he had or what people say about him, that man is legit the reason that every young guy should be striving for it all. Like, he went from the Indies for 2 years, walked into NXT, had whatever heat he had, came back, reinvented himself, won the Cruiserweight Championship, was on Monday Night Raw, walked down the entrance of WrestleMania. He did it, you know, and nobody can talk shit because he did it. And he's still 25. And when this whole pandemic's over, I know Leo, I mean, he might be going through a lot, and my prayers are always with him. I've seen his social media, like you said earlier, and I know he's going to come back from this, and he's going to wind up getting signed again, and he's going to make more money, and he's going to keep doing what he's doing because he deserves it, because everybody didn't believe in him when he was on this level. If you didn't know Leo Rush, you didn't really believe in him. You hated on him instead. And, you know, for me, being now, I'll be 21 in July, you know, I'm looking to make someone like him proud. And I'm going to strive for the biggest goals and for the biggest companies. Now, people ask where I want to go, and I've been asked that a lot. And my thing is, wherever God takes me, I'm going to go. If it's AEW or WWE or Impact, Ring of Honor, etc., I'm just working to be at the top. That's all I want. I was bullied my whole life for loving wrestling, like really bad in school. I had no friends. No girls liked me because everybody would walk around and be like, oh, that's gay. Oh, he likes men in tights. Wah, bah, 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 bah. And it was like, but I don't. And it was like, I just love what it's about. And it reminds me of my dad when he was home. And now, you know, that I finally have achieved a lot in a very short amount of time, which I'm very blessed for, you know, people look back and bite their tongue a little bit. But I know I'm not done yet. Even though I'm at maybe to what some people think is at a certain level, I'm not done. I feel like I have 10 times more to achieve. And even if I got to the big stage and I achieved everything I ever wanted, I still wouldn't be done, man. I'm always hungry for more.
That's the thing about Casey Navarro that I've always noticed, especially at your stature. The size of you as a wrestler is one of the hardest climbs in the industry because, you know, I'll take a Drake Maverick, if you will. You know, right. Rockstar Spud there, Spud. I always, they got so many damn names.
Yeah.
But a guy like him coming out of, you know, the Britain scene and really making a wave in WWE, the smaller guys, they do have a struggle. But man, you guys, and I'm kind of putting you guys in a class because I'm a skinny little fucking runt and I'm like 50 years old. But your stature as a wrestler, it's very difficult to really get there. And looking at Leo Rush, I think is a perfect example of what you're talking about. Don't stop, man. Don't ever stop. And I can't wait to see what the future brings to KC because it's definitely going to be big, giant things. I do know that. That's a fact.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot, man. Thank you.
The Instagram thing. Once we kind of get back wrestling, you're going to have a busy schedule all over again, maybe even busier than ever. A lot of the men and women kind of finding what to do. They're doing podcasts or little things on the side. Again, that's how this thing kind of came up on the Skype. Do you see yourself continuing these little things? Because I'm sure you're having fun doing them.
Oh, for sure, man. I love it. I mean, it might not happen multiple times a week like I'm doing now, but I would definitely do it every week for sure, just to keep connecting with fans, because that is my favorite thing about all of this. Like, when I started doing it, and I didn't even know, but I had fans in Portugal, loads in Scotland, England, places I've never even been before, and like people in states all over that I've never even been to, and I'm like, this is really cool. Like, I'm meeting people from all around the world and that I didn't even know knew who I was. So like, yeah, it's definitely going to be a new thing, because I feel like the more I travel and the more I'll get out there, the more people I'll wind up meeting. So that's always a cool thing for me.
I like to see personal preference. I like to see when champions do, you know, everyday shit with their belts, like driving down the car or being driven, if you will, because hey, you probably don't drive yourself. I do. I drive. You know, even hanging in the back, being driven or something. You know, got the shades on or whatever.
Sure.
I love champions that take those belts and cut promos. May it be at a restaurant, going to the store. I don't give a shit. Me as a fan, I think that's really fun stuff. Have you ever done that stuff with the belts, if you will?
Absolutely, yes, I have, and I have been filming stuff during this quarantine, so you never know what you might see soon.
Oh, wow. a little snippet, a little cryptic message from one Casey Navarro. That's awesome.
Sir. Yes, sir. A little blessings on your way.
Oh, I guess in your case, the more blessings you give us, the more we're blessed. So I can't wait.
You don't have to tell me, brother. I know.
It's our pleasure, as many would say. It was our pleasure. Casey Navarro, you've been an absolute delight, man. I cannot believe that I got Casey. Again, you don't think it. You know, wrestling is a funny thing, my friend. You start making those connections. You start making your hard work starts paying off little by little that you don't see. And like you're saying, you've made fans all over the world and you have no clue how it happened. It's just the little things. You keep working hard. You keep doing your thing. You keep making progression. And we see it as fans. That's why we follow. We want to see what's next for KC. So I was so excited to get you on here, my man. And I am so glad that we were able to connect. I have probably like 30,000 more things I would love to ask you, but I'm surprised you even stomached me for more than 15 minutes. So that I appreciate.
Oh, my man. Listen, yeah. I remember when we met at a show in Massachusetts, I believe. Mm-hmm. And you were very polite. You were very respectful. You were very supportive as well. I appreciate you reaching out to me for me to do this for you. Means a lot. I feel like it's a way for me to give back to you for how you were to me. I'm very grateful that you brought me on here. If you ever needed me to do this again, let's do it, man. I actually had a great time. Very blessed, very grateful and thankful, man. I really appreciate it.
I would absolutely love to do a follow-up because there's so much more I got to ask you. So sure, man. That would be amazing. I would love that. Now, I just had one quick question before we let you go because sure. You're obviously a fan. There's no way you're not a fan. The way you speak, the passion you speak with. When you click on the TV and you want to watch wrestling, what is Casey Navarro? What's he going to? Or you just watch as much as you can?
I try to watch a little bit of everything, especially when I have like friends in like each place. So I try to like watch each thing. But I try to watch a little bit of everything for sure.
Another name, again, I want to mention, it was a two-part question. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Sonny Kiss. Okay. You and Sonny Kiss have a pretty cool relationship. I love Sonny Kiss, and I am so glad. I am like beyond stoked to see Sonny Kiss get picked up just like that when AEW is starting to come up. That must have been pretty cool for you to see a friend like Sonny Kiss get, that big push, no?
For sure, man. Sonny has been through so much in his career. People, talked a lot about him, and he didn't let anybody get in his head. And that was another inspiration of mine that made me have the same mentality. And look at him now. He deserved it. He's a very, very, very hard worker that deserves everything he has right now. And I'm so blessed to call him a friend. I'm very grateful, and he deserves it all for sure.
I got to see him perform not once, but twice at a small place in Cheshire, Connecticut called PWA CT, Pro Wrestling Academy.
Okay, I've been there. All right.
Yeah, I saw Sonny Kiss there perform twice, and wow, love Sonny Kiss ever since then. So, sure. By the way, PWA is going to be coming back.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to have to make a return. It's been a long time. Yeah.
I interviewed Miss Kara Scarfo. We went back to the old stomping grounds in Cheshire. We did an interview outside. It was amazing. And hopefully, I know with everything going on, but she wanted to bring to Connecticut because they're doing two versions. One's in Georgia with Mr. Von Schmidt, and they did a show in Georgia, or we're doing, or something. I forgot how it was going on. But then they're bringing it late summer, early fall to Connecticut. So.
Yeah. So hopefully we can make that happen, man. If the schedule works out, man, for sure. I would love to do that.
I'm glad I remembered that and put that in your ear hole. That's going to be awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, because I would definitely try to do whatever I could to make the time for that, for sure.
Love PWA. Miss it so much.
Me
so
too.
much.
Me too.
This has been Stir in the Pot with Don Kincaid and my very special guest, Casey Navarro. I cannot thank you enough, my man.
Nah, man. Thank you, man. I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.